Coming up on this episode of Free Lunch.
And I think that's where men fail. Like I said before,
Yeah.
men feel like they're always supposed to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And they forget that their family wants their time. Dude, he's crazy.
Dude, I love that guy. Oh my God. He's like just like the unsung superhero, bro. I can't get down a lot of
No.
but I'm like, dude, I respect the hell out of it.
Everyone's committed for 2 weeks. Literally. And then after that, it's
2
like
weeks
this,
committal.
it just kind of goes away. And if that motivation just goes away.
Is all of us have to overcome.
Absolutely.
The lie is thinking you don't.
Agreed.
The lie is thinking not overcoming is an option.
Yep.
Maybe the dad you wanted growing up isn't the dad they need, though. You step on people's toes with that, bro.
Yeah,
Take the blame.
You gotta take the blame. I mean,
Nah.
if you're a true leader, like I always, when I walk in a room, I always feel like, not that I'm the alpha, I just feel like I can do it better than everyone else in the room that I walk in.
It's Free Lunch Season 3 with a special thanks to our sponsors, Bullseye-LLC.com, Ready, Aim, Bullseye, where safety is our ammo, Gen1LLC.info, Generation 1 Logistics, taking pride in putting our carriers first and helping owner-operators get premium loads, stay organized, and increase profit, and ScarletOakCandleCo.com, the self-care experts.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Freestyle Gospel, aka The Real Free, with another episode of Free Lunch. And I have Hulk Smash himself here, Steve Orosco. Give it up for him, y'all. Give it up, give it up. Steve, what's good, Steve?
And first of all, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I'm glad I finally connect with you.
Absolutely. I'm pumped. Tell the people, who is Hulk Smash Steve?
Hulk Smash, Mr. Smash is a lot of things. Former pro MMA fighter.
Yes.
Worked on Wall Street, running for state senate here in Connecticut.
Okay.
And small business owner.
Yes. Smash HQ.
Absolutely.
In the works.
Yeah, I have 3 of them in the works right now.
3?
3.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yes.
All in Connecticut?
Yes, I actually I haven't announced it yet.
Okay.
I'm not going to say the location, but I'm in the middle of building the biggest sportsplex in the entire state.
Wow.
That will be pretty close to New Haven. We're going to have
nice.
Another Smash HQ gym, 2 indoor soccer fields, indoor baseball fields, 10 pickleball courts, virtual golf, a restaurant, and to be surrounded by 300 units of property.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing. So I do like to share, my audience is at least, used to me giving a little blurb about how I come across the guests or what about the guests, got them their golden ticket on the show.
Cool. Willy Wonka.
Yeah. So I came across Steve just like doing my Facebook scrolling, guys. Like, I've done a billion times. That's probably how a lot of guests come on the show, really. I like to be social on social media rather than just, so I spend a little bit of time each day just, scrolling around and, seeing what interesting people are out there. And I see Steve here on like, selfie mode on a video, kind of twirling around what looks like a bank. And come to find out, he's like gutting this place out. He's like got this really cool, architectural like majesty of a building, an old bank in Bridgeport, I think it was, that he's like talking about turning into a gym. Like, so, you guys, I'm a former martial artist. Like I love the whole gym and workout scene. And the fact that he was combining it with this type of architecture that I also love. I'm like, this is so out the box. Like he could use this for so many other things. Like, and the fact that it had like a balcony, I'm looking at all this. I'm like, yo, this guy is in my head right now. I'm like, so I hit him up, and the rest is history. We got Steve here in the building. So I found out, right? So once I see the video, I'm like, I got to reach out to this guy for just like his, out the box entrepreneurial mind. And then, once I got a response from him on social media, I then like looked at, some of the other stuff and, looked in his background and saw the, all the MMA stuff. Yeah. Totally impressed with.
Thank you.
Pretty amazing stuff. Would you still be considered welterweight?
I had one fight at welterweight.
Oh, okay.
But I'm a lightweight, so that's 155.
Really?
Yeah, so I'd walk around about 185, which I am now, cut down to 155 for fight night.
That's a crazy cut.
Yeah, it was miserable.
Wow.
Like, you feel like you're gonna die. Like your
Dude,
lower
that's like
back,
yes.
lower back is tightening up because you cut so much water weight.
Wow, that's crazy. Pretty impressive record from what I was able to find. Like one loss.
Yes.
You know, we won't name who that is. They're irrelevant. But anyways, but the losses. But I actually heard you say something that was actually very profound on another podcast you were on, where you talk about just like it's those losses that help shape you.
Facts.
Like, so shout out. You know what? Shout out to the guy that gave him the loss. We'll actually get, you know what? Because that's why he made some small contribution to the Steve we see here today.
That's a defining moment.
Yeah.
I think when you take an L, it's also very humbling. Like, you know, I think I was 7-0.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm smashing everyone. I'm doing great. And I go over to Australia and I fight their number one kid. And I realize, wow, fighting on someone else's territory, the hometown kid, cutting 20 pounds in 5 days. I wasn't mentally prepared as I thought I was.
Yeah.
So it was very humbling. So it was a loss that I don't ever want to take back.
Yeah. He was like a little bit cocky, maybe, right in there. Like, I'm the man right now.
Yes, I was feeling it a little bit.
I love that. Hey, the losses help shape us, man.
True.
Definitely. So with wow, I'm like impressed with the varied degree of background that you carry as an individual. I'm used to being the guy in the room with all that. Like,
that's because like you, I'm passion driven. So like, I mean, I heard your story before and we chopped it up. So my background is the typical kid who went to college. I went to Pace University in New York City. Not knowing what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to be on Wall Street. So I said, hey, let me apply to the closest college next to Wall Street.
Okay.
It was Pace University.
Okay.
So I went there. I double majored in finance and marketing and minored in pre-law. Worked on Wall Street, but got recruited by a firm called Barnum Financial Group in Shelton, Connecticut. Now, when I got back to Connecticut, I just fell out of love. I wasn't passionate about finance.
Yes.
And I was like, man, every day I just hate it more and more. I'm working for a paycheck, making great money.
Great money.
But like you, I'm passion driven.
Yeah.
I was doing jiu-jitsu, trained MMA, and I said, you know something? If I ever leave this industry, I'm going to become a pro fighter.
So you were doing that training while in college or while at the firm after college?
While at the firm.
Okay.
And I also went back to school. I went to Albertus Magnus and I got 2 master's degrees during that time. I got an MBA and MS. So once I got that is when I quit the industry. I moved to California, turned pro, and just went with it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You had to have people like the people who are close to you or know you like just shaking their head and go, dude, you're crazy.
Yeah, for sure. But now at this point in my life at 41, they just know that's my personality. I'm like all or nothing.
Yes, yeah.
No, like 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
And that's what, you know, has really been, you know, my story. You know, the people who, you know, follow me and tune in, you know, they've heard my, you know, ex-cop story. But that's what was the biggest, you know, kind of retort or, you know, rebuttal that people had, you know, leaving that is like, dude, you like making 120 grand easy every year, like hand over fist with ease. And then you just talk. I remember actually, when I left the PD back in 2015, I went to work at a charter school.
Okay.
In Bridgeport. Shout out to New Beginnings Family Academy. And I actually applied to this school twice.
Oh, wow.
While I was a cop.
Okay.
They didn't accept me the first time. And I mean, like, this is a charter school that made me, like, put me through the ringer. Like, I had to do the interview, meet with one person, second interview, meet with the board of directors, third interview, meet with the principal and do a mock lesson in front of a class. This is while I'm a cop. I'm like at this charter school trying to like go through all this ringer. This is the first time. They send me a email. Sorry, we decided to go another candidate. Right? So I email back and I'm like, okay, in the future, No, their HR person said in that same email, but in the future, if you see us post something else, feel free to apply.
Okay.
To reapply. Yeah. So like 4 months go by, still working at the PD, not, in my passion, some unhappy doing that. Love the job objectively. Like I love helping people in the city where I grew up, but just not my passion. I see them post the same position again.
Oh.
So I apply again. And because I had already went through all those other steps the first time, and I kind of like already knew my resume and like what I could do, with the mock lesson, all this, they were like, hey, this time around, we're just going to have you meet with the CEO. And that's it. So long story short, come to find out, in part, why I wasn't hired the first time had to do with the board or many other people, in the administration, not being able to wrap their head around, why is this guy leaving a 6-figure making job like this to come here? Like in the mystery of that, like just the unknown was kind of unsettling for them.
They could have just asked you.
They could have. That's what I felt. But, I was forthcoming with that at this last time around with the CEO. I'm like, this second time around, I got to get this job. Like, come on, guys. Like seriously, like I could do this. Like I've already proven that I could do this. And I just came out and told the CEO, I was like, listen, what they were offering me, you ever get like those pay stubs, like it shows you what like that week's pay is, and then it shows you above or somewhere what your salary year to date is so far at that job?
Absolutely.
So that category on my last pay stub from the PD that week that I had in my pocket going into this interview, it was March in the year. So this job at the charter school, they hired me in March. The salary they were offering me for the year in March was my year-to-date threshold I had already broken at the PD, like in March. And like, I get it, putting myself in their shoes, like looking, I could see how like crazy that could look.
Absolutely.
But me, because I'm like, intrigued, like I would just asked, but that was why. It was because I told the CEO, like I'm passionate about young people and doing this. And, there's nothing wrong at the PD. Like I have accolades. I have, city citations, like, awards. Yeah. I'd be like, it's not like some scandal this guy's trying to like get away from or, it's just, it was something they were like, it wasn't a matter of something, what's so bad about the PD? That would be a question people ask. It's like, nothing's bad with the PD. It's that I love something else more. Yeah. And I feel like that's what position like you were in, like, what was so bad about working in corporate finance or like, no, there's nothing horrible about that. I'm actually really good at it. And, I excelled, I made good money, but internally, people can find themselves in that place of spiritual suicide. Mm-hmm. Inside, I'm dying. I don't care how much money or outside how good you look. Yep. That's what leads to, I think, to people like, working somewhere for 10, 20 years or something, and you find out reading the paper, they took their life or committed suicide or freaking they're divorced now after, working with, because they're unhappy.
Yeah, you can't live like that.
Hell no.
You can't. I'm big on purpose. If you're purpose driven, you'll love your life every single day. And you'll give it your all every single day. There's never a morning I wake up and I'm like, man, I hate my life. There's days where I'm like, this is a roller coaster.
Yes.
And this is an
it's up heart and down, racing right now. We're pumping. Racing, yeah.
But it's my roller coaster.
Yes.
So I can deal with it and manage it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That sounds like a t-shirt. Okay. My roller coaster.
My roller coaster.
Dude, I love that. Oh man, hashtag. I'm still in that, Steve. Not to mention doubling back over like, just scrolling through your page, finding out more about you. Aside from all this like super varied background and stuff you're into, you got the Smash HQ going on. I thought it was just one. You got freaking 3 in the works. This absolute huge wealth of education behind you. Like you could be literally doing a bunch of other things. Juggling, now, the whole political candidacy thing. On top of all that, I'm not expecting to find out this guy is married with kids. Yeah. I'm like, mind you, by the way, I tried getting Steve like at an earlier time and he's like, he messaged me. He's like, dude, I got my kid. We got soccer. And I'm like, what? Like, not only does this guy have a wife and kids, he's got kids and soccer duties he's trying to manage with all this stuff. Yep. You're a roller coaster. Yep. Like, talk more about like how, like what's the intentional things you must have to be putting in place daily to mitigate what could potentially just be the thing that like just snuffs out so many other people because it's just too much. What are you like intentionally doing just day to day to manage all of those hats and roles that you have?
I think you have to learn to be able to thrive in chaos and adapt to literally anything. Like even when my wife says it all the time, she's like, you have no time. How are you adding this on your plate? Like, for example, with my son's soccer, I'm always like, I'm not coaching this year. And every single year, you know what happens?
You're done
I coach. And this year now, I'm not just coaching regular. I'm also coaching his travel team with him. So now he has soccer 4 days a week instead of just twice a week. But everything that I do is purposeful for him.
Yeah.
So I will sacrifice other things for him.
Yeah.
Because he literally is my world.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what.
How old is he?
He's 8. It's a perfect age. It's actually the perfect age. So I also own a pro MMA league in California. It's called Smash Global. So,
okay.
So I do black tie MMA fights. So I've always liked the whole.
I was going to ask you about that.
It's like the bank and gym, the same way I do my Smash Global. I like that rugged and refined feel.
Yes.
So I do it I have the cage, 30 tables of 10. You're eating steak and dinner like you're at a wedding with a cage in the middle. 5 pro fights, black tie and gown, honor celebrities. Tickets are $500 to $1,000, so it's very elite networking.
Yeah.
Max out of 250 people. But when I started that, I had no event planning skills. Wow. So I was thrust into this, and I did it on my own. I learned how to operate, put all these different moving parts together. There's nothing more stressful than having to put together an event. Like trying to get your let me think about this. Your fighters, your cage rental, the promoters, the coaches, your event planner, the venue that's doing the food, the red carpet, the ticket sales. Like doing all of that was crazy. And I feel like that taught me so much.
Hell yeah. And that was for how long has Smash Global has been going?
August 1st, 2015 was my first show. And the first one went off successfully. I lost a lot of money on the first one, like you should.
Most
but
people.
I was able to get the whole planning system down that first time.
Yes, that's what happens.
So it was okay. It was okay that I lost some money, but you make it up over time.
Loss is the teacher.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
it is.
If you let it, because there's plenty of people that lose perpetually because they're not finding the teacher.
Yeah, you got to find the lesson.
Yes, you got to find the lesson.
You got to find the lesson.
Speaking of which, I put a post up on my page, on my Facebook page a while back about, not that I'm against mentors. Mm-hmm. I think they're important. I think they're needed. I have mentors. But I put a post up about if you could only have one occur in your life, mentor or error, what do you think has the most saturated or efficient impact as far as how you move forward, the ability to change your thinking, that impact? And it was really split on the page. Like a lot of people were like, nah, man, when you like mess up, it's no better teacher than like messing up. And a lot of people were like, well, no, if you have a really great mentor, then you don't need to mess up. You can avoid messing up. And I was like, yeah, I get that. I know the mentor can help with that. But I'm like, nobody was really like just black and white. Just give me the answer though. For you, if you could only have one though, what do you think? And I think what I ended up later adding in the comments was to people to consider is which one has the longer lasting impact? Like, see, like the mentor, I can have a mentor today. I can have a mentor for this year, right? There's mentoring and coaching programs out there. People make a lot of money doing that, by the way.
Well, I have fraud.
Yeah, but I could afford this, $10,000 coach package this year, and I can't afford it next year, right? Is what I learned this year from the mentor, is that something that I could feel confident and say 10 years from now, those lessons are like singed and burned into my head. Mm. Like they're not going nowhere. Yeah. A mentor, I remember reading that book, or I heard my mentor speeches that just for 10 years, I always remember them. Yeah. I mean, you could, it's possible. Yep. But I don't think there's nothing more long lasting and impactful than, like how you said, the loss or the scolded burn marks on your hand from touching the stove. That
Truth.
you can't forget that. It's
No,
in
you
your
can't.
face
You can't.
every single day.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I think there's degrees to it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna take the era, especially if it's on a very high level. The problem with mentors is most people don't implement what mentors tell them. So, for example, people who are unmotivated will go to motivational seminars. You go to a motivational seminar.
Hold on, say that again. I think that might have slipped through the radar. I don't know if people catching that.
People who are unmotivated feel the need to go to motivational seminars.
That's great, dude. You guys know I'm a poet and rap. That's a bar. Catch it. Continue, sir.
So the problem is, you go to a motivational seminar, you leave there feeling like you can run through a brick wall and do anything.
Euphoria.
Yes, but people that are unmotivated, if they don't use that within 48 hours, it is gone because it's not impactful. You didn't feel it. Now, I just got goosebumps, as you can see.
Wow. Yes, I can see.
But when you take a big L, that is like a scar on your brain forever.
Forever.
You know, like, for example, my one loss when I fought, I think about that every single day. And that was 2014. I mean it, like, it weighs on me. And that's really
amazing.
Drives me still
Yeah.
8 years later. You know, that was the biggest defining moment of my life. Just like being in the hotel room by myself in another continent in the dark after my loss while everyone else is out partying. I'm just sitting there like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? I'm alone. I just lost. I just got knocked out. You know, but some people that drives them and others that might make them quit and they'll fold.
Yes.
You know,
Indeed.
I'm a person that like, I have to overcome. I can't.
Yes. And the reality is, I'm glad you said that. You said I'm the kind of person that I have to overcome. The reality of that statement is all of us have to overcome.
Absolutely.
The lie is thinking you don't.
Agreed.
The lie is thinking not overcoming is an option.
Yep.
That's the lie you've been told.
Yes.
Is that you could afford to not overcome. I can just afford to chill, sit back, be lackadaisical, haphazard approach to things. You said something else in another interview I watched. In but so many words, I'm paraphrasing, but you know, if you're gonna do something, you're gonna seek to be the best at it and do it to the best you can do. Yep. And that's how I've always been. Is like me and a close friend of mine, one of the best men at my wedding. We always joke around about how he's into photography, and he's correction officer by day, he's doing the dual thing. I keep telling him like, hey bro, when are you gonna take the leap? But I think he's far enough along and he's just gonna wait to collect the pension. No shade.
No, that's I have a partner in one of my gyms, full-time firefighter. I'm shooting a video tomorrow with a friend of mine who's a full-time police officer. Yeah. And they're both absolutely incredible at their craft, way better than their first responder jobs. Yeah. But the pension, like my Matt, he's like 8 years away from his full pension with the health benefits. Yeah. Even though he's probably the best trainer that I've ever seen, and I've trained with the best. Yes. Like, man, if you just left and went all in, then again, you have a family, you want your pension. I get it. Yes. That's a hard leap for people.
It is. But, to that point, he's one of those people that has been on this journey with me for like the last 7 years or so. And we're the types that 2-3 o'clock in the morning, if I'm up researching how to do something else, how to, better the platform or learn this technique or something, I can text him and 9 out of 10 times he's awake doing the same thing, researching something about his craft or what he does. And it's that hunger, man, that is if I'm going to spend any time, I word it another way to somebody this way. I go, the thing I think about where people would say, hey, well, taking that leap for me is difficult because I got a wife and kids free. You know what I mean? I gotta secure this for them. We actually have every other week, small, little local small business entrepreneur meetings here for helping, iron sharpen iron, with each other. But somebody at one of the last meetings made the comment that that's what their fear is in taking the full leap, because they have their own security guard company that's doing well, it's growing day by day, is that if I leave, I'm going to fail, not at the business that they do, I'm going to fail at taking care of my family. And I said, for me, it's kind of like re-engineered the other way around. Mm-hmm. The love that I know I have, and that other man that was in here that day telling me that fear, the love I have for my family and the love I know he has for his family, that becomes what I re-engineer and pack into the backpack. It's fuel. Yeah. It's the thing that ensures I will not lose.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now there is no fear of me failing my family. That I won't allow that to happen.
Truth.
At zero cost. Like there's no chance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think when you like reworked it, you can re-engineer your own fears, your own worries that you have that's kind of keeping you at bay or keeping you at a place where you feel like there's like this ceiling of success.
Yep.
You know, I tell people all the time, like here doing this, like, you know, podcasting in the studio space is not the only thing I do. Like, obviously, I have to pay rent in this place. Like, just coming here and shooting the crap with, you know, people like you, old Steve here, doesn't pay the bills. Like, yeah, like Steve doesn't pay a fee to come here on the show. Yeah. So I do my, whether it's like music, spoken word, voiceover, acting, I full-time voiceover I do out of here. All this stuff independently through my company. All those things are the things that are driving me, why I'm tending to each and every one of them to the degree of excellence the best way I can. It's because I know failure isn't an option, and I wouldn't have arrived at all of those individual things that I've even broken headway in or made headway in those spaces, like voiceover, for instance. I wouldn't have been at this point had I not had the full leap, you know? So said another way, I've told people like, hey, you won't experience certain success or more past that ceiling until you do something you haven't done, right? We've heard that phrase, right?
Yeah.
You won't experience something you never had until you do something you've never done, right? So up until literally maybe 9 years ago, the LLC, that's the placard right outside this studio on the wall, I've had that LLC for like 12 years.
Oh, wow.
File taxes every year for it. You know, granted for the first like 9 or 10 years, it was just me, you know, the name that I operated as a performing poet, traveling, but filing taxes every year for like the better part of 9 or 10 years. Yo, I never broke anywhere more than like $800-900 for the year.
That's what it costs for an LLC, right?
Every single year.
$800.
What's happening every single year? It's like, hey, I'm doing that thing while I'm juggling the 9 to 5 on the side. You know, I'm doing this, and so right, I've experienced this degree of success for 9 years or so because I'm doing the same thing every year. I got the 9 to 5, and then whatever few hours in the day or in the month I could spare after I'm putting 60, 70 hours in at the PD. Yeah. Then I'll go try to see what other platforms I could do my poetry or where else I can go, what other event I can find. Is that come this year, this is going to be, when this year closes, this will be the first year that I was all in full time with the LLC. I've like 22 times X that what I've been sealing and capped at for the last 9 years. Okay. Because I finally got to a point where I'm trying things I've never done. Namely being, the biggest thing I've never done is I've never jumped off the cliff. And now Steve it's like,
Harvey, baby.
That's the part. Like either I'm going to fall to my death, right? Like the Dark Knight clip, you know, scene, right? Either I'm going to fall to my death or I'm going to make it. Yep. Those are the things. Let that be the re-engineered fuel, which I imagine that now in your place, full circle, that's what you experience every day. Yep. Today is the day. Today's it's got to happen. We got to make it happen today.
You have to.
It not happening that's not an option on the table.
Yeah. You have to be obsessed with your craft, whatever it is. There's no 50, 60, 70%. No. It's that, you know, there's such like an argument who's the GOAT in basketball, right? Jordan, LeBron, Kobe.
If you think there's an argument. But yeah.
But man, like for me, like my GOAT, and I'm not a basketball guy. Yeah. But I absolutely love the stories and the reels that I see that have to do with Kobe. Because he was an assassin It's almost like other players story tell about him like he's this legend.
Yeah.
And he was so obsessed.
Yeah.
In there at 3 a.m. just because he knew the next guy was going to be there at 4. Like he just was a monster.
You know, it's so crazy. I heard that you bring up Kobe. I heard I don't know how true this is, but you know, you can't believe everything on social media, folks. But I saw a post that said he actually was known for not passing the ball to certain teammates of his that he didn't see putting in 100% during practice.
I like that.
Because he was like, look, if you're not willing to go all in for practice, I can't trust the ball to you and trust the ball during the game. I was like, dude, that's cutthroat. Like, that's like
myself. Yeah.
Dude, I'll carry the ball myself because I know I'm putting in 110%. Like, that's another level.
It's another level. It's like any player who wants the ball with 5 seconds left. That's the one.
You got to be the one that in the gym at 3 a.m.
Yeah, you got to be the one. That's the ultimate level of confidence. Most people don't really want the ball at 5 seconds left, down by 1.
Yeah, that's too much pressure for many people.
A lot of pressure,
hey,
you know? But you always have one on the team that he wants that ball. Throw me the rock.
Throw it to me.
That's Kobe.
Throw me the rock.
That's Jordan. That's LeBron.
I got this. Ugh. Dude, that's just chills down. Like, dude, that's holding not just other people accountable, right? Because that it's about that second. He first. I love the idea of that, whether it's true or not. What I love about it is that he's willing to clearly put the burden first on him, like me first. Like I love that approach to like leadership. Amongst like servant leadership, I'm big on that idea, that principle. But like also this me first idea concept as a leader. Like wherever you are, we have like a series occasionally that we do on the show. We had like the dean of students over at UB come on the show for this series. We call it Humility and Leadership. Okay. So we find, someone in leadership in whatever sector, whether it's education, medicine, whatever. Talk about, being humble while being the heads of whatever departments they are. But servant leadership and also this me first idea that says, you know what? Yeah, I might have people that I'm over, that I oversee, that I, demand certain things from, but I'm never demanding something that I'm not willing to do first.
Love that. That's important.
And that's what for me makes, again, if that story is true for Kobe, to be able to go, you know what? Is cutthroat, as that might sound, and unfair to some of you guys? Yeah. If he's in the gym at 3 a.m. and no one else is there, I kind of feel like he should get to kind of carry that.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, and if somebody feels the type of way on the team about it, come meet me at the gym at 3.
Yep. Yeah, and also the real leaders will take the blame. They won't blame their teammates. They'll take the blame. They know they're going to come back and they're going to regroup.
Ugh. You stepping on people's toes with that, bro.
Yeah,
take the blame.
You gotta take the blame. I mean, if you're a true leader, like I always, when I walk in a room, I always feel like, not that I'm the alpha, I just feel like I can do it better than everyone else in the room that I walk in.
Yep.
I'm that confident.
It's fair.
Just because of what I've done with my life. But if I fail, I'm okay with saying I fail. I'm all right with that.
Yes.
I'm not gonna blame anyone on my team, because if I'm leading my team and someone on my team fails, that means I failed somewhere along the line. Setting them up for whatever position they're doing.
You know what that reminds me of? This idea of her stated another way, difference between being at fault and being responsible.
Okay. I like that.
Right? Like that. Hey, it might have been someone on my team's fault, but I'm taking the responsibility, like you said, of I clearly must have failed them in the education. It's just like I imagine, teachers must fail, educators, right? Yes. It's like, hey, if all these kids fail in the class, this is where, like in grading, probably they have like grading curves and stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's like if 80% of your class got an F, is it really because like you really believe? Is it more likely that 80% just didn't study, or was there some loss in communication or translate from the educator to the student? Yeah. So I love that idea. Would you say that's something an approach to leadership or responsibility that you've always carried with you from like youth, early days, even as like maybe a wrestler, and into adulthood, or is that something that you kind of adopted as you became an adult?
That's a tough question to answer. I hope that's how I was born, right? But I always say that.
Well, I mean, like, do you recall like having those moments where it was hard for you to accept responsibility for things? Like,
no,
as a teenager or things, yeah.
No, but wrestling is one of those sports that you're accountable. You can't blame your coach. You can't blame anyone but yourself. It's you versus one other person.
Uh-huh.
So you learn how to be accountable. You learn how to be responsible. You learn how to overcome adversity. You learn how to, come back stronger. What did I do wrong? And really, criticize yourself. Look in the mirror, so to speak.
Yes.
And that's why I think wrestling is one of the best sports there is for a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, boxing too. I mean, jiu-jitsu. Anything that's a one-on-one sport.
Yeah.
Without a team, teaches you everything about leadership.
So, does your son play soccer? Is he in wrestling?
So he was wrestling. I started him at like 3.5. Before COVID.
Nice.
COVID happens, shut everything down for a year and a half. And I haven't put him back in yet.
Yeah.
But I'm going to.
Being not just a girl dad, but my youngest before the newborn is actually my 11-year-old son. He made me realize something, like, just even as you approach just parenting, whether it's girls or boys, whatever, was that I spent a large part of like the older girls when they were younger being the kind of dad that I think I wanted for them.
That's normal.
That the dad I wanted for myself, towards them. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was taking the trash out one day, like crazy, like where we are, we get these like epiphanies, and it hit us like a ton of bricks. I've been taking the trash out. I've been at Walmart checkout, but I'm taking the trash out, and it hits me that, you know what? Maybe the dad you wanted growing up isn't the dad they need, though. Maybe you have to approach this kind of parent thing from an individual perspective. And although it's very easy, because especially if you're a parent of multiples, it's just very easy, right? As parents, with like juggling all our scheduling and stuff, like we try to find the least path of resistance to juggle all these hats, right? So it's like, it's easy if everybody wants the same thing for dinner. Like, this is what's for dinner. I'm going to cook one meal. Yeah. It's easy if everyone likes this.
Truth.
Parenting, same way. It's easy if everyone responds well to dad's one style he's picked that's going to be his style of parenting.
Sounds like government.
You know what I mean? But what you find out, if you're a parent, those who are listening out there, if you're a parent of multiple kids, you realize they all have their individual personalities. And, what works for one doesn't work for the other. What one enjoys, like my 8-year-old, when I bring him up, he is what led to this epiphany. I did this thing that luckily all 3 girls, maybe them being girls, were all, on board with this, is thing I called evening meeting. Okay. So evening meeting, because, other married guys out there, or, got girl dads, you guys know, girls got to get their number of words in. They do. Every day. They do. And having 3, they all are daddy's girls. Everybody wants to talk to daddy about their school day. And I'm trying to do all these things around the house. I'm juggling this, doing 60, 70 hours at the police department. So I'm like, hey, we're going to do evening meeting. What that means is everybody gets 15 minutes uninterrupted individual time with dad. Okay. And it's like, hey, whether it's sitting on dad's lap, sitting on the couch with dad, or I come to them in their space, sit on their bed, uninterrupted. No, go away. I'm talking to your little sister right now. No one can interrupt their 15 minutes of time with dad. Wow. They all loved it. So now I get married to my present wife of almost 6 years. She has our son. So now I got my boy, right? So I'm like, it's been working with my girls. I'm gonna like kind of bond, connect with, my young son. He's like, I think when we got married, he was like 4 at the time. So it's pretty early, age coming in. And I remember calling him into like the room, and I'm like, hey, buddy, so like, tell daddy about your day. Like, he's like, yeah, it was good. I'm like, all right. Anything else? Like, anything exciting happened in the day? He's like, no, not really. And then like, before I could think of like what I want to ask next, like, cause really this doesn't work that way. I don't ask anything. I just kind of like let the girls rip. He ends up sighing really heavy and like putting his hand on his head. He's like, And I go, what's going on, buddy? What's wrong? He's like, do we really have to do this?
Yeah, he was no part of it.
And I'm like, well, not really. I figured you'd want to talk to Dad about your day. Hit me like a ton of bricks, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Wired different.
They're different. Okay. Different. All right. So let him go. Yeah. I cut him loose and he was like beeline 100 miles an hour.
How old is he?
Now he is 11.
Okay.
He's 11.
Got it.
But yeah, he put me in check.
Yeah.
He put me in place. Let me know. I can't broad stroke the parenting strategy. Yeah. Yeah. But you have just the one.
I have two. I have a 16-year-old daughter.
Okay.
And an 8-year-old son. I'll tell you
what.
what.
With the girl boy. All right.
Girl boy. I like to look back on my life and say that I started to fail as a father with my son in the beginning because I was in fight camp for the first couple of years nonstop.
Oh, yeah. That was that time.
And like it's almost like you're all in with fighting. You have to be all in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you have like a good 6-8 weeks. You're not doing anything. You're taking a break.
Yeah.
You're all in with your family. And then it's like you're not here, and then you're
here.
But when we moved back to Connecticut from California, it was in 2019. COVID happened, 3 months later.
Mm-hmm.
School shut down. He was Nathan Hale here in New Haven, in the Cove, outside of the bridge. And my wife didn't get shut down, but because I'm a business owner, I was shut down. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So I became a stay-at-home dad. So I became a first grade teacher. And let me tell you something. I sat at the table with this kid from 8 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock every single day.
When the Zoom ends.
The first 2 weeks were miserable. And then it was like literally the best experience of my life where I was like, I am never going to sacrifice the time with my kid for work or for anything. Like, we are like this now. Like COVID literally was the best thing that could happen to my household because it really slowed me down.
Yes.
To realize, like, I'm an entrepreneur, so like a lot of men, we feel like we have to take care of our families and make a lot of money. But at the end of the day, your kids just want your time. They really don't care how much money you make.
Yeah.
They want your time. And so now me and my son, like I said, we're like this. We're like attached at the hip. And it's just priceless.
Yeah. Was it something that you expected at all would be the result of the time being kind of in the house and like just kind of still?
I would say no.
Like you kind of going into it was just like, this is going to be the longest.
Yeah, it's going to be long. Like, but you know something? I think it's also my personality where I'm an all-in kind of person. So like we're getting all the schoolwork and I'm like, listen, we're getting straight A's.
Oh yeah. We got no reason not.
So, and this was, I mean, he had a kindergarten. This is first grade. So his whole year of first grade was stay at home. He literally went from in kindergarten getting like 3s average to in first grade got all A's, all 4s. Second grade, all 4s. So like that first grade of being at home, he realized the importance of getting good grades. Now he's addicted to getting good grades. So it was a blessing for both of us. You know, because now he understands. So I wasn't tough on him. But I had expectations. I'm like, if I'm staying home all day for school, then we're going to do it right.
So I have this other, this quote, I wrote it down on my phone so I won't forget, from the other Steve Harvey.
Oh, yeah. The parachute guy.
Yeah, Steve said, he said, live your life so that your children's grandchildren know your name. Ooh. So essentially, I mean, I was like doing the, I'm like, okay, children. All right. So basically your great-grandchildren.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might not be here.
And so I was chewing on that today earlier before our meeting, our podcast episode. What does that mean for you? Live your life so that your great-grandchildren know your name. Like, well, first, why is that even important, right? Because there's that, right? For some people, they might hear that and go, I don't care. For you, why do you have a desire for that? Like, do you see any like efficacy or like a benefit of that? I mean, other than someone saying, yeah, that's just your ego. All right, your great-grandchildren know your name, so what? Who cares? Yeah. Like, how do you approach that?
I never really thought about that question before. I mean, I want to be able to enjoy my life now, but also be able to create, some sort of wealth. So,
or legacy,
generations or legacies. I don't want them to have so much money that they don't have to work. I would like
Yeah.
for the next few generations, no one has to pay for college,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or people can start their own businesses. But
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that statement.
Yeah. I know. I was kind of chewing on it
That's
a bit. Here's where
You do want to be remembered because you're very easily forgotten.
But even like you could argue, because I thought of that and I said, you know what, wanting to be remembered, that could also really just be ego driven.
Yeah.
So I came up with this. This is the best thing I come up, and I don't really know. It's not a direct answer. Like maybe people just want, right? Some things have nuance to it. I said I could disagree with it, but I think the focus should be what's immediately in front of you.
Agreed.
And then your great grandchildren knowing your name will be an outcome that you can't even avoid.
Agreed.
So whether you're egotistical or not, it's what will happen.
Yeah.
Right? So that doesn't need to be my focus. Whether you're a person who you think, you're super humble and you have no ego, or you're the person who has a really big ego and you need everybody to know your name, right? Yeah. No matter who you are, if you simply just focus on every day, attacking every day with vicious tenacity, passion, doing what you've been made to do, what you're passionate about, the gifts that have been put on the inside of you, there's so many other awesome things that are just outcomes.
Yeah.
They're the side effects of that first thing.
Facts.
All right? So that, the goal shouldn't be, let's say I want to make $1 million this year. Right? Somebody might argue that. They might argue, push back and go, well, what do you mean? That's a specific number. That's a identifiable goal. I can measure it and see how close I'm getting, as the year goes. Why not? Here's why I say that. Again, if today I simply do all that I can do in today with tenacity and vigor, and I do that tomorrow, and if I get another day, I do that the next day. I believe those things that we typically put as the goals, they will just happen organically. They become the outcomes. Somebody say, I want to be successful. I want to, have this, again, 6-figure business or $1 million business, whatever. These are things that are really just side effects of focus, intentionality with the one day at a time that you got today.
The easiest analogy to go with that is the person who is, say, 300 pounds overweight. They go to the gym on day one. They come home, they look in the mirror, they don't say anything. They go to the gym on day 2, they come home, they still look in the mirror, they don't say anything. But at some point, there comes a time you look in the mirror, you're like, wow, I'm looking good. It might be 120 days down the road.
Exactly.
But there's no way that will not happen at some point.
If
you
you're
stick
committed
the course and you're
every
committed.
day.
But everyone's committed for 2 weeks. Literally. And then after that, it's
2
like
weeks committal.
It just kind of goes away, and if that motivation just goes away.
Well, I think in part it has something to do with what I told you to pause on for us to chew on a bit earlier. Is you said, this is hysterical to me. Only people without motivation, only people who are unmotivated go to motivational conferences. I'm sorry, guys, you're with me. I just think it's hysterical because it's like a secret, it's like the unseen elephant in the room to me. Yeah. The way that I'm, and kind of bear with me for a minute, our listeners out there. The reason why is both ironic and funny is because maybe it's because I'm not sure the way to say it, but I think the motivational conferences, I think I could argue, are not for people who don't have motivation. For me, I think there are certain things that are only left up to you in the dark.
Facts.
Even if it's a slither. Granted, you could size yourself up next to the next person and go, well, they have more motivation than me. Okay, fine. Okay, but if you show up to the motivation conference with zero motivation, with zero self-resolve, inner, just a slither of it, something that then the conference or the mentor or something stirs up and makes use of or exponentially increases or stirs, right? That's when those things in those arenas, those become behooving to the average person, right?
Yeah.
Show up with. I think it's word another way. How you hear mentors or motivational speakers, they say, "Hey, they're expecting people within the audience to already have their why," because they'll ask that a lot at those motivational. What's your why? Please don't be in the audience and you don't even have that. Like, what do you expect me to do? Yeah, I'm the motivational guru. I'm that guy.
Yeah,
but you got to come up with your why.
Agreed.
Like, I can't do that that's too much hand holding.
Yeah.
God, like there's something that has to be on your own, develop in the dark.
Agreed.
By yourself. And you know what? You can, as an adult, many of us here, our adult counterparts do it all the time. You could blame not having that on your parents, your upbringing, your childhood. I was inner city kid, born and raised in New Haven, to a 15-year-old single mom, raised by my great grandparents because mom was still a freaking kid and growing up.
Absolutely.
Not, living with my dad, not having him around, living in the homeless shelter, living in the hotel. Like I could run down the list and that could be my excuse and this is why I don't have any drive, motivation, but somewhere in the dark.
There's other people that go the other way. That's what motivates them because they don't want to be in that situation.
True.
Because that was such a tough
but they found it. They found it. That's their why.
That's their why.
For me, hey, my why was different, but you better have found it and find it on your own. The time spent in the dark. That could be metaphorical for, the time alone when you don't have all the people cheering you on, right? When Smash HQ isn't this big 3-location success, right? Like, you have to manage a lot of that vision and carrying it across the finish line alone. I am the only one that sees this entire thing done. Yeah. There's other people that come alongside me. They can see this piece. I bring them along on the team, right? But I better come to the limelight, come to the stage, come to the business meeting, come to the whatever it is with the rest of the other people that may be there, maybe not. I gotta be showing up to the light, right? I got to be showing up to the stage with whatever I found in the dark. Just me, myself. I say me, myself, and Irene, right? You, me, myself, and God. However you want to split it.
Yeah, I like that whole that quote. I don't remember who said it. It's kind of cliche. It's the "No one's coming to save you" line. Like, you can only save yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if everyone had that mentality, I think the world would be a much different place. Mm-hmm. I think definitely people play more victim than try to rise up through adversity and just say, something?
That's a fact.
No one is going to stop me. Yeah,
that part. They're not winning, not finishing is not an option, I think. And I think that for me, I take, I'm a spiritual guy, from a Christian perspective or faith. I take on, the belief that, as a man thinketh, so is he, right? That's what, my Bible helps me or teaches me. And I take that and I apply that across life everywhere so much is that okay, what I'm going to accept as the truth up here is going to be the truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what's going to be my realized truth every day if I accept it here. Mm-hmm. And I truly believe, being made in the image of God or, the creation that I am, I think whatever I can just get myself to be convinced of, that's what I can experience. And there's no other thing or person that's going to be able to stop me. No. But I have to have that resolve right here.
You do.
And that's hard.
Yep.
And I think that's fair. I'm a person that with my kids, I'm very blunt and transparent with just giving people that, validating those things. It's fair that hell yeah, being whether people want to say being a minority or being a black guy, hey, that's tough. And I'll give you that. I'll go, hell yeah. But this right here, I can say being that kid in New Haven, it's tough, right? I can point to so many things, and I just am that person that says, but I don't want to give any of my time and attention to what could be the thing that could trip me up. I'm every day, and maybe call it to having the really huge medical disruption in my life, over the last year. I'm every day I have no room in my thoughts, space in my head to put on anything else other than what I set out to accomplish. This is what's gonna get done. This is why I stay a lot of times from, I told you before we went on air, like, I don't really follow politics. I don't really watch the news because it's a bunch of bad news. I like literally, I asked my wife, I'm like, hey, baby, you know anything about this? Or I'll ask, even my kids now at this point, they're like telling me something. I'm like, oh, really? That happened? And it's not because I don't care or, I'm like, this cold hearted or, people dying or, oh, you hear about this, this court case or this. And it's just because I'm too busy trying to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. Yeah. And that's what I've seen for me. I can't speak for everybody. That's what has gotten me this degree of accomplishment and success I've experienced so far. That's what I attribute to. Yeah. It's because I'm not being distracted by the white noise.
White noise.
I like to call it
everywhere.
Like it's the white noise is everywhere. Whether it's your social media scrolling or just freaking shooting the crap. 10 hours later, you realize you're still on social media on your Instagram and you haven't gotten that paper done or whatever it is you got to do. I mean, we can't waste time, man. Tomorrow's not promised, and I had to learn that real quick, man. Going from not ever having a surgery, not ever needing medical care, like, and probably attributing to just, guys like you and myself who have background in fitness or just taking care of yourself, like you typically avoid being, sickly or experiencing those things. And it's just like that, suddenly out of nowhere, have a freaking rib removed, 4 surgeries, like things. It's like, I have no time to waste.
I'm with you. So I never, like you, I'm not the person who goes to the doctor, never had injuries. Even when I fought, I didn't have any injuries. But the last year and a half has been very difficult. And if it wasn't for my mental fortitude, I wouldn't have got past it. So I tore my ACL. So that was a tough knee surgery to get over when I'm like, fitness is my life. Mm-hmm. 6 months after tearing my ACL, the doctor said, you go back to normal activities, just no grappling, no fighting, et cetera, et cetera. So a month into my feeling good, I went and boxed. And I tore my Achilles. So I went from one major surgery to another major surgery. I just got cleared 2 weeks ago to get back. So
to get back to like
to training.
Okay.
Achilles was a year ago. They just put me under again 3 weeks ago to take out the sutures and scar tissue. But it's hard because I love boxing. I love fighting. I love grappling. I grappled last night for the first time in almost 2 years. And oh my God, I'm so sore. But my soul was on fire last night.
Yes. I said that when I had to do a stress test at my last checkup visit. And I've never done one before. Okay. So at this point, it's been almost like literally a year since I've done any physical exertion at all. Okay. Like I haven't even done so much as a push-up. Yep. And now I have to go do this stress test, where I'm on the treadmill. Yeah. So a little anxiety about it, like I'm a little nervous. Like I've never done one. And then 2, I'm not fully sure of like what it all entails. And I'm not sure how my body's going to respond, because it's like, literally I've done nothing. The most, physical exertion has been like rocking my baby to sleep, Yeah. And so, and even that, I have to alternate arms because I can feel my dominant arm where I had the surgery, like I can feel my blood pumping, like, after a while. So then I have to switch arms. So I go on the treadmill and, you have to hold on to the handles because they start to, at different intervals, speed up the treadmill and then raise the incline. So now when they raise the incline, I really have to hold on to the bars because I'm at an incline. Yeah. And so I'm walking, speeding. And I can remember the staff there, they're like, as they keep increasing, they're asking me, like, they got me all connected to these wires and they're asking me like, how am I feeling? And I'm like, I'm okay. I'm taking, controlled deep breaths, just like, I teach you in, training, right? In martial arts. I'm like, walking. Then they ask me, they get it to like the highest notch where they're going to bring it. I'm still kind of, and they go like, so you're not feeling any like discomfort anywhere? And I'm like, well, my triceps are burning a little bit because I'm holding on to these bars. And so they finish it. I sit down, heart rate slowly comes back to like level. And they're like, so how you feel? And I was like, you know what? After not doing like any exercise for almost a year, I feel amazing. Yeah. That felt great. Yep. Like just like alive again. Like it's like I could feel the soreness in my muscles and all that, whatever. But it's like my body, you could tell like just yearns, that like misses, like our bodies weren't meant to just be slugs and just,
That's true.
you know what I mean?
We're supposed to be out there hunting.
Exactly. You're supposed to be out there going to get it and bring that thing back. So, you know, shout out to Liver King. You ever catch Liver King?
Dude, he's crazy.
Dude, I love that guy. Oh my God. He's like just like the unsung superhero, bro. I can't get down a lot of stuff.
No.
But I'm like, dude, I respect the hell out of it. Hell yeah.
A warlock.
Dude. Liver King out.
Yeah.
One day I'm gonna have Liver King on the show, guys. Yeah. But yo, while we get wound down close to the end of the show, like I try to do at the end of every show is kind of breeze through these kind of 3 categories of things, and you just shoot out to me like what thing in this particular season in your journey in life you're learning in each of these categories. And then we'll end with free food for the soul, something that we want the audience to chew on and edify their soul, like the lunch edifies the body. So this particular season, what are you learning in the area of faith? Whether that's faith in a higher power or faith in yourself, what?
I honestly think faith is one of the fundamental values of life. I can give you a great example. My son, I pulled out of public school this year because I went to go visit another school in Brantford called Old St. Mary's. And I walk into this place and, there's Jesus on one wall and St. Mary's on the other wall. And there's an American flag in front of you and there's 3 doors of locked entry and everyone is all community based. And I'm like, this is amazing for structure and discipline and for your kids just to feel that they can do anything. I think that's a lost thing that's happened in our country where faith has become irrelevant. And it's wild because, especially in the inner city, back in the day, the pastors ran these cities. Everyone cared about faith. They cared about church. It was a part of the culture. And something got convoluted over time. I'm not sure what it was. Maybe social media. The next generation just didn't care anymore. But I love it. Like he goes to school every Monday morning. They start the week off in mass at school.
Oh, it's actually at the school.
At school, they do mass in the gymnasium, which is great because it just teaches kids to be humble and
they're all there.
They're all there.
The kids. Okay.
And it just brings community together, and everyone feels like they're on the same page. No one's better than anybody.
Yeah.
So I'm all about faith. I've always been.
Family. What are you learning these days in the area of family?
Are you reading my stuff because you're hitting me with all the F's?
It's the 3 F's. Family,
faith, fitness, finances, ultimate freedom. Those are my 5.
But what's something that you could say new you're learning in the area of family specifically these days?
I'm going to have to say the importance of spending quality time. And I think that's where men fail. Like I said before, men feel like they're always supposed to hunt. And they forget that their family wants their time. Because we're like bread.
Yes.
It's almost, it's ingrained in society that, you have to have compassion for the women and the animals. The men, there's no compassion for men.
Cast them aside.
Cast them aside. Go get the money. Go hunt. Bring it back.
Yes.
Because you're supposed to be strong all the time.
Yes.
And when you have that mentality, you fail to be present for your family, I feel like, because you're always chasing something to bring home. And I mean, I'm always grinding, but I have to tell you, my family is everything now. And I credit COVID for slowing me down to realize, wait a minute, I don't have to hunt all the time. I could be like, not a stay-at-home dad. But I appreciated being a stay-at-home dad for that year.
Yes. In the context of an entrepreneur, what do you learn in the area of finance?
Finance. I try to, let me think about this. The importance of sacrificing and saving money. And I say that because a great example is this. People always complain, I'm broke. Now, how hard is it to make $25 an hour? How about that? I mean, that's I think that's by average. So if you're working 40 hours a week, $25 an hour, that's $1,000. Now, that's $52,000 a year. Now, if you're someone that says, you know something, I'm gonna work 60 hours a week. Well, that's $1,500. That's $8,000 a year. So now I'm making $26,000 more a year. Now, if I were to sacrifice like the person working 40 hours, that means I've accumulated $250,000 over 10 years. without the interest.
Wow.
5% compound interest. That's like $325. You basically just saved a house.
This is the finance guy, remember?
You basically just saved a home over 10 years. So there's like no excuse, in my opinion, to not be able to get to the next level. But again, nobody truly wants to make that sacrifice. You know, listen, when I was 25 to, my early 30s, I was selfish. It wasn't all about saving all that money. I wanted to spend, have fun. It wasn't until when I stopped fighting, I was 33, that I really stepped back and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I really got to change everything. And that's why, I have businesses now and.
Love it. Love it. Take notes, guys.
Take notes.
This guy, he went to school for this stuff too.
I know it's easier said than done. I understand that.
Yes.
But again.
Anything worth having is worth being difficult, fighting for. At least that's the way I've heard it.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? If it comes easy, you care about it less. That's my experience. Let me say that, right? Caveat to, allow everybody to have their own individual experience. But I think if you're honest with yourself, you'll see that's the same holds true for yourself.
Yeah, we know when people are honest with themselves anymore. They just like to project and point at other people to make themselves feel better.
No, exactly. It's a lost art. It has to be categorized as an art now. Being honest with yourself.
It does.
Lastly, the free food for the soul. Our listeners tuning in, man. Whether it's something that we already kind of went over during the last hour, or is it something brand new that you like to leave with for the people? Something to edify their soul. You want to leave the people
I really
with?
want people to start believing in themselves more and not projecting and hating on other people, which is what has become commonplace in America, especially. It's like, I have this, but you have that. I don't want you to have that. So that's not fair. It's this whole like, what's the word? We've got to a point where it's like equal opportunity, I fully agree with.
Yep.
But equal outcome, I don't agree with. And we're moving to this place of equal opportunity always means equal outcome. But
everybody gets the trophy.
Everybody gets a trophy. But dude, you have to earn it. You have to sacrifice. Not everyone gets a gold
And I think
medal.
the beautiful thing about the whole trophy, analogy is the silver lining, I say, is that I don't think it's outside of anyone's reach with just gross, sheer drive, ambition, determination. I tell people the other local, just creatives or entrepreneurs, small businesses, friends of mine that I know or whatever. I told them this story about me getting my first booking agent when I started doing spoken word at the Apollo Theater in New York, before I got the chance to even tour all over the country, all over the world. How I got the agent, and I remember them booking me for something for the first time, working with them. And I had a conflict with another event that I booked for myself. Oh. And I remember them being so shocked by that. They were like, oh, well, I didn't know that since, you paid or hired me, I didn't know you were still out there, looking for, gigs and I said, yeah, I have you, but I'm not gonna allow anybody to be outworking me, work harder than me for myself. Yep. I'm to me, that's just, and nobody I don't think in my brain taught me that per se. It just is something that in my way my brain works just makes sense. If the outcome, right, whether that's success or more money, if the outcome is for my enjoyment, why would I let someone else, even if I hire them, outwork me though?
No, can't.
For my outcome pleasure. It's whether your outcome for other entrepreneurs is more free time with your family. For some people, it's not money. It's not more money or whatever they want to work in somehow. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's for me to enjoy and for me to entirely and just entrust that to you, someone else. I don't care how many great reviews you have, awesome clients, rave about. It's not that I don't trust you or something. It's just that it's for me though. So hey, great, icing on the cake. It'll be both of us working hard as hell then. But you're not gonna find me ever. You're not gonna outwork me. Yeah. And that's what I think. Maybe that comes from the 7 years old, you know, being introduced to martial arts in the mat, the dojo earlier on, you know? I think in those ways, like, it's something about how you said wrestling. It's like just some of those contact sports just develops things in the mind, especially if you get in early as a young kid, that you take with you as an adult. And it's like,
That's true.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because you just said something, I forgot what it was, but it hit the back of my head. All these people that society looks up to, that are very successful.
Yeah.
Like, they had the tenacity to get there, worked hard. They were vigilant in their pursuit of success. Everyone has that ability. No one, there's not a single person on this planet that could not do what Steve Harvey did. Or if you're watching Beyonce, like, anybody can do that. You might have to put in 120 hours. Yeah. You might have to do things that that make you very uncomfortable, but you can do it if you really want to. Now, I get it. You might put in 1,000 upon 1,000 of hours and not get it still, but there's a chance you will. You just have to believe.
There's a 100% chance you won't if you don't put in the hours.
Yeah, seriously.
You can guarantee you won't, though. That's the one guarantee.
Yeah.
I love that. Hey, thank you so much, Steve, for coming through, man.
Yes, sir.
Again, you know, off air, guys, I told Steve, I said, like, full transparency, man, I didn't even know you were, like, in the whole politics thing. I almost felt embarrassed, like, by it, like, right? Like, you know, it's like, who's an adult these days, right, who don't know these things? But, like, you know, just, hey, I take it, I own up to it, whatever. And so me just knowing all the stuff and that you're juggling your busy schedule, as I'm sure, I really that much more so have gratitude for the time that you've taken from not just your work, but your family to be here. It's late in the evening, and you're here sitting next to this regular old guy.
And he's a regular guy too.
You know, just chatting it up, man, just about life and family. I really, really appreciate you just for a second. You know, I don't get to see it on TV too much, but for a second, just coming down to, you know, height, to level, and just to just have a just regular conversation, and not just for myself, but just for the audience or listener out there, just to get to know.
Like I don't want to get
who
political.
Steve is. Yeah.
But another reason why I'm getting into politics, because I think all these career politicians are all trash. Seriously, everyone.
I could agree.
Both Democrats and Republicans, and I feel like we need regular people that are motivated and inspiring and entrepreneurs to lead. Dude, the community leaders here in New Haven could do a better job at running New Haven than the politicians running New Haven. I'm certain of it from the people that I met with. I'm like,
I can believe that.
Has this senator ever met with you before? And they're like, no. I'm like, what?
Wow. No, I could agree. I agree.
And I just feel like change has to happen. Obviously, it's a slim chance for me because I'm a Republican going up against a Democrat who's been in there for 40 years in a strong Democratic city. But
uphill battle, man.
But I like it like
that. But that L you took over in Australia.
Yeah.
But look, shout out to that guy, man. He doesn't know how much he's allowing you to win hand over fist lately everywhere else in life. But best of luck with all that. Leave the people with where they could find you on social media or website, wherever. Yeah,
you can find me, I say Instagram, Steve Orosco. You could type in Mr. Smash as well.
Yes.
I have a campaign website, steveorosco.com. My MMA league is smashglobal.com.
Yes.
And my gym is smashhq.com.
And before we let you guys go, definitely over time, but I don't want to leave without letting the listeners hear at least this. Just in the event, right? It sucks that because we have, you know, people out there that complain literally about everything. Yeah. But to make mention that, yet again, I don't have Steve on the show today because, you know, of his political stance or even my own. Like I said, I don't have one. I'm not. It's not my thing. But what I want to point to, because I've had this experience more recently with, we had like the Black Wall Street in New Haven event recently, and I gave my card out to a bunch of people, inviting them to the platform, to the podcast. Again, it's free. I don't charge people to come in here, and I appreciate that you're just. Steve's sitting next to me because Steve responded. And reached out. And I want to have that be kind of like what everyone really listening who would like to get in the comment section or complain, or maybe I don't know, maybe you're anti-Steve or Republican, maybe you're Democrats or whatever the hell, I don't care. Why? How come he's got a Republican? Oh, I guess Frii must be. No, you know what? Respond to the freaking email. Respond to the DM. Respond. Reach out. Literally anybody could be in this space and having this same conversation. But so I thank you for responding, and that's what I mean by coming off, out the limelight, from the stage, from the platform, from whatever, from the podium, and coming here on my used leather couch. Appreciate you, brother.
I love it, though.
Thank you so much. Best of luck, man.
Brother.
Hey, it's free lunch, y'all. Free food for your soul. Peace.